Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's time to place your bets. It is me, Joe Pisapia, and it's week 4, and you know what time it is on Thursday. It's time to look at the best lines, the best totals, the best sides, and who better to do that with than the prop prophet himself, Mr. Donald Parham Jr., or maybe the third. It's Andrew Erickson, who's still glowing after that first touchdown call, 30-1. I don't think I'm going to get over that all season, Andrew. That was the best thing. I think you might as well quit after this, I feel like, Andrew. I feel like this is it for you. Just Costanza yourself and leave on a high note the rest of the season, right?
Yeah, I mean, the highlight of my Sunday was right around that touchdown, and then basically I went out downhill from there. But I was on cloud 9 for that small window around like 1:10 Eastern when Donald Parham scored that touchdown. I was like, all right, we're in the green. We're going to stay in the green no matter what else happens. But we didn't add more green as the game progressed.
Well, it was a pretty good time, and we'll call more touchdowns tomorrow on Friday's show on the prop show. And I was texting with Erickson during when they got in the red zone. I was like, if they get this touchdown, I swear to God, I'm going to come drive up to Massachusetts and give you a great big hug. I didn't get in the car, but I sent him a virtual one at the very least. And speaking of hugging old friends, my good pal and yours too, you remember here from Betting Pros, Mike Randle from FTN, joining us here on the show today. Randle, it's so good to see you. It was great to hang out with you in August. All three of us were together in a room, which was such a nice change of pace, drafting some football teams. I've already lost Nick Chubb in that league. Najee Harris has been terrible. So I'm pretty miserable in that league, and I think you're just as miserable as I am when you look at the standings, I believe.
Yeah, I got the win this week over you, which I needed badly because I got off to a terrible start. But there is hope yet with Justin Herbert keeping me afloat, and I just need to get healthy. But gentlemen, it is great to be back here on the show with you guys. It's the reunion. I'm excited.
That's right, the reunion episode. And I felt so good after Thursday night, man. George Kittle put up a good game. I was like, I'm going to take it to my boy Randall this week. I'm going to, take him to the woodshed. Nope. Sunday was miserable. Absolutely everything that could go wrong did, but hopefully everything that can go right will for week 4. So let's talk about the bets. The guys have lined up their top 5 favorite bets for the week. So everybody should come sit by the fire and let's go through them. Before we do that, don't forget, everybody, to make sure you drop a comment below and subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel, because when you do, you get a chance to win a signed, autographed James Cook jersey from the Buffalo Bills, thanks to us here at Betting Pros. Again, it's real simple. Drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to click that little bell till it goes ding for notifications so you know if you're the big winner. We love giving away free stuff here to our listeners and watchers here on the YouTube channel. So even if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, you just listen on the podcast side, well, what are you waiting for? Go get yourself some free stuff. James Cook jersey. We'll be doing another jersey or something cool probably in October. So stay with us here at Betting Pros. Let's jump in with our guest here, Mike Randle. Take us through one of your favorite bets for week 4 in the NFL. What do you got?
We're going back to Baltimore here as a road underdog. Ravens, I think, plus 2.5 may have changed at Cleveland. I cashed this one with Lamar Jackson on the road against the Bengals. Here's the deal. It was a nice plus 160 money line hit with Jackson as quarterback. When he has been a starting quarterback on the road as an underdog, 8-1 against the spread, including 4 outright wins. Harbaugh is great in the division. We know this, especially when he's an underdog of a touchdown or less. 12-6-1 against the spread per Bet Labs. Now, on the other side, guys, Cleveland, unfamiliar territory here for the Browns. Just 6-14. That's 30% against the spread as a home favorite. 2-5 in this situation's under Kevin Stefanski. I like Harbaugh over Stefanski. I like Jackson on the road here. Now, no Nick Chubb. Jerome Ford should be fine. But Deshaun Watson, are we really at the point where we're sure he's turning the corner with efficiency? I am not sure. Cleveland's defense, lights out. No doubt about it. Number 1 in DVOA here at FTN. Ravens, actually 5th. So they're right behind them. I think it's close. Jackson on the road, slobber knocker, if you will, guys. But I will go back with Lamar Jackson as a road underdog here against a Cleveland team I'm not ready to say is the clear number 1 team in the AFC North.
I can understand why you're not ready to say that. I am ready to say that defense is for real. It was one of my favorite defenses coming into the fantasy season. I totally get where you're coming from. And this game has given me fits all week, so your perspective on it is very enlightening. What about that total, just out of curiosity, too? It's 40 over on Sugar House, 40.5 over on FanDuel. Any feelings on that one? Do you think this one underperforms, or do you think it actually goes over the 40?
No, I think it's under. I think both, you had a division game, you have a rivalry game, two close teams, two strong defenses. Turnovers are going to decide it, guys. And I know Baltimore's a little banged up, but I like them here with Lamar. I like them with Zay Flowers, and I like this defense here to force a turnover or two out of Deshaun Watson. That should be enough.
This is giving me vibes from a couple years ago. Randall and I used to do a weekly betting show on another network years and years ago. For a couple of years we did, I think 2 seasons, I want to say at least.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Good times, man. We had so much fun on that show.
Yeah.
This is great. Erickson, you're great. I love you. Give me another pick for week 4. What do you have lined up for the people?
Yeah, I love that call on the Ravens. It just feels right to bet on Lamar Jackson as an underdog. That feels nice and warm. But for me, I'm going to go with the Jaguars -3 playing in London against the Atlanta Falcons. So
That's
the Jaguars
home for them,
have
isn't
basically
it?
laid. Technically, yes, it is home for them. It's one of their 2 games because they're actually playing back to back and some weird scheduling twerk, and then they're not going to take a bye week after. It's very confusing. I don't know why they're doing it, but we're talking about this week specifically. First game in London, and the Jaguars have laid eggs basically back-to-back weeks. Lost to the Chiefs, very disappointing, and then blew it against the Texans as big favorites. Now, the thing is, these are really self-inflicted wounds. Like, they're losing these games because of turnovers, missed field goals, drops, block kicks, guys returning touchdowns that shouldn't be returning touchdowns that are never going to score ever again. And yet they had 400 net yards last week and lost. So really, it's been on them that the reason they haven't been winning these games, not because they haven't been the better team, because I think that they are the better team than the Atlanta Falcons here. And that's why I think they can win by over a field goal looking at the matchup against Desmond Ridder. Desmond Ridder, when he's in a clean pocket, performs very, very well. But when he's under pressure, he becomes Desmond Ridder, as Derek Brown has coined on the Fantasy Pros podcast. So Jacksonville's defense, very good at generating pressure, 4th highest pressure rate. And I think that they're going to be able to get to Desmond Ridder, disrupt him, and make problems for this Falcons offense. So the Falcons traditionally have also been much worse on the road than they have been at home. Desmond Ridder specifically has been much better at home. Atlanta averaged fewer than 18 points per game on the road last year. So I think that I think that the Jaguars kind of right the ship, get things going, don't make self-inflicted mistakes this week, and they pick up the win in London. Yeah,
I would agree with that too. I think we all expected them to struggle against the Chiefs, especially when Jones was coming back in the pass rush. Okay, that we give you a pass. But struggling versus the Texans, I think that's the one that sticks in everybody's craw last week, where you're like, what are you doing? What's going on here? And they got to start playing better on defense, that's for sure. Let's go back to Mike Randle here with another one of his picks here for week 4 in the NFL. Mike, what do you have?
Yeah, Titans +2.5 against the Bengals. One game does not solve the problem for the Bengals. Joe Burrow did not look good. And that game against the Rams, they should have lost that game. No rushing attempts up close by Kyron Williams and the Rams. I think Sean McVay did a terrible job in that game. Tutu Atwell, he steps out of bounds. They probably win. I don't like this Bengals team. I have concerns. And now we're going to go on the flip side. Tennessee's down. No one likes Tennessee. We've seen Tennessee in these situations. Titans are 10-6 against the spread as home underdogs with 9 outright wins under Mike Vrabel. Their pass rush is 3.3 sacks per game. They're going to get pressure on Joe Burrow. The Bengals rushing offense is terrible, 2.9 yards per carry. Mixon got the touchdown, saved his fantasy day last week. We know the Derrick Henry game is coming. Entering week 3, the Bengals rush defense, 28th in rush defense DVOA. Henry should get going. The Titans pass rush should get there. I don't trust the Bengals. Burrow, there was rumors about injured reserve going into last game.
Right.
And I don't think he played above his head at all. Bengals are struggling. The regression is happening. We thought it would happen last year after they lose the Super Bowl. They found a way to keep it going. I think it's real. I think the Titans went outright. Titans +2.5 here against the Bengals at home.
I got to tell you, this was last week. The Titans really upset me. We do the early line show every Monday morning. It was my favorite bet. I locked it in at 4.5 last week, and then they just went out there and laid a turd. Like I thought for sure against that Cleveland Browns team, they were going to be competitive and keep that one close. It was not. I wish I could get there. And you make a really good argument. But I got so burned with Ryan Tannehill and this offense last week, and then Derrick Henry with that toe issue that he's dealing with. Maybe that's the reason you didn't see Derrick Henry out there that much. And if that's the case too, I'm worried about the Tennessee Titans defense. But that doesn't mean they can't get this 2.5. So to Mike's point, pay very close attention. And this is why you set things like the line alerts and the game notifications on the BP app. By the way, if you haven't downloaded the app yet, this is a good week to do it, because if you download the app, you get 3 free days on the iOS version of the premium BettingPros. So if you want to see all the bells and whistles and all the best tools in the betting planet, then this is the time to download the BP app if you haven't done it already. Because again, you get 3 free days there as soon as you download that from iOS this week. So check it out right now. You download that bad boy on Friday, take you all the way through Sunday into Monday. That's the pattern right now. So go check it out if you haven't already. Erickson, what do we want to check out for your second pick here for week 4?
Talking about I like the Rams money line this week, going up against the Colts. Now the Rams have played in 3 pretty closely contested games, and as Mike mentioned, like they could have won on Monday night against the Bengals. A couple things go their way, a different play call here or there, and they win that game outright. So, but when I look at the schedule that the Rams have played, I mean, the Colts are the worst team that they have faced this year, in my opinion. Just looking up and the teams that they have gone against. And I don't think the Colts are going to have any answers on stopping this passing attack that the Rams have going with Matthew Stafford, with some of these young receivers from Atwell, from Puka Nacua, because that's the weakness of the Colts defense is their secondary. Like they have no problem stopping the run, and Sean McVay knows that. Like he's going to be able to dial up, I think, a passing attack that's going to rip this Colts secondary to shreds that Lamar Jackson and company were not able to do last week because of the injuries they had on their offensive line, because of the weather. That's not going to be the case here with this game being played inside a dome. So I think that people are riding high on the Colts a little because, they beat the Ravens in overtime because their kicker kicked 3 50-yard field goals. a lot of situations that I don't think are replicable next week. So for me, that's why I like the Rams money line here. I think that the Colts dead last in terms of passes defended, the 4th most fantasy points to quarterbacks. I think Stafford's going to have a day, and I think it's going to get them the win.
All right, Randall, you've got some feelings on this game as well, but it's more for the total, correct? In your number 3 pick?
Yeah, Yep, and I agree with Erickson's first 2 picks wholeheartedly. He nailed it, and that's the reason why I'm going under 46.5 Rams and Colts here. Here's the point. Let's look at it from a Colts perspective. Anthony Richardson probably going to start. Coming off a concussion, I don't think he's going to rush as much. In fact, here at our FTN projections, we have him at 27.5 rushing yards. You know that line is going to be higher. He has not been a great passer. In fact, he has struggled this year as a passer, 4.94 air yards per attempt. That's a small sample, but that's the lowest in the NFL. Remember, week 2, they had a big game. He had a short pass, week 1 rather, to Michael Pittman, which was a screen that went to the house for a touchdown. So I think it's going to be a conservative game plan. I don't think he's going to be running as much, which means more time on the clock, slow it down. Now, on the flip side, Andrew is right about the Rams offense, and Tutu Atwell, Puka Nacua could have a big game, but I think the issue is going to be the offensive line. Stafford was pressured on 34% of dropbacks last week. That was 3rd highest, and he had the 6th worst in catchable passes. Now, he was fairly average in week 2, despite it being a shootout. So I think the numbers are skewed with the Rams because of a big week 1 performance. I do like the Rams to win. I just think it's going to be lower scoring, and I think both teams are going to be taking their time getting up and down the field, and the pressure that both can generate here should disrupt the offense. I think it's a conservative game plan with Richardson. I'd like them better if Minshew was actually starting, but assuming it's Richardson, I'm going to take the under on 46.5 in this game.
Certainly trending to see Anthony Richardson play this week. It seems like all accounts are moving towards that. We'll see what the practice reports are this afternoon when everything comes out for that. Now he brings an explosiveness, which could always put a total in danger because he rips off that one big run or 2 somewhere in the red zone, maybe. Next thing you know, this total goes up. But a lot of good arguments and a lot of good pieces of note here in this Rams-Colts game too, which I think is a game that scares a lot of people. So I think it's really interesting that both of you are in on this game. Let's get to another one of yours, Andrew, number 3 on your list for week 4. What do you have?
Going with the Saints, -3 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jameis Winston, another revenge game going up against his old team.
No, he doesn't. He exhausted the revenge games. He's been playing in that conference in that division for 2 years.
I don't care.
Enough already with the Jameis Winston revenge. He's not getting it. He's not getting his revenge, okay? This is like Game of Thrones where things don't work out. That's what it is. It's no revenge for Jameis Winston. Now you can continue.
So I'm expecting Winston to get the start here. I know they've been kind of hush-hush about Derek Carr's availability, but I think with the shoulder injury, I don't think Carr is going to be playing in this game. So I kind of view it as Winston as actually an upgrade. And that's because the one thing that Derek Carr has struggled with, just not this year, but even last year, has been in the red zone. Like that has kind of been the Saints' woes on offense so far this year. He has struggled. Their red zone offense ranks 27th in efficiency. Last year, Derek Carr, 42% completion percentage, 11 touchdowns and 2 interceptions inside the red zone. Jameis Winston over the last 2 seasons, 69% completion percentage, 15 touchdowns and 0 picks. And that's over just 9 games. So I think that Winston can actually be the solution to the New Orleans Saints red zone problems that they've had so far this year. You're getting the boost in the form of Alvin Kamara coming back from his suspension. The Buccaneers are playing on a short week on the road. And what has been the Buccaneers' recipe for success on offense? Throw the ball to Mike Evans. He has 75% of their touchdowns on offense this year. Who's going to stop Mike Evans this week? Marshawn Lattimore.
Oh, I knew the answer to that. Oh, man, I finally knew the answer to a question in class, and I couldn't even raise my hand in time. Damn it.
So considering the Buccaneers have 2 wins against 2 teams that are currently 0-3, I think that they're one of these, fraudulent 2-1 teams, even though I think the Saints are a bit of a fake 2-1 team as well. But the Saints should be at least 3-0. They should have won last week. So for me, I'm going to back the home team here, even with Jameis Winston making a start. I think that you get some value on the number because it is Winston and not Derek Carr. I think it would actually be higher if it was Carr, but I don't really see it that way.
Yeah, you make a lot of good arguments there. That number is 3 on sites like FanDuel and Caesars, but 3.5 on spots like BetMGM and DK, which is why, again, you place your bets through the app and you sync all your sports books on BettingPros so you can get the best number you can. Lock in that 3 instead. Let's go back to you, Mike Randle, with another one here for week 4 in the NFL. What do you have?
Yeah, I'm going to go, assuming that Jimmy G starts, I'm going to take the Raiders plus the points, 5.5 at the Chargers. Josh Jacobs' big game is coming. Last 3 matchups with the Chargers, 5.1, 5.7, 5.5 yards per carry. It's like a bingo card here. Chargers just got sliced by the corpse of Alexander Madison for 4.7 yards per carry. And are you guys impressed with the Chargers defense? I mean, they are 4th worst in the NFL in defensive DVOA per Aaron Schatz here. And thank God for the Broncos because they bumped them up 1 spot after that disaster last week. 7 of the 8 games between these 2 AFC rivals, guys, decided by a touchdown or less, 2 in overtime. We know the Chargers. This is what they do. They've won only 4 of their last 20 games have been decided by 6 points or more. The Chargers are going to Charger. This is what they are. 6-8-1 against the spread as a home favorite. I put home in quotation marks because of their lack of home field advantage under Brandon Staley. That's 4-8-1, guys. 33% as a touchdown or less favorite. Do you have confidence in the Chargers defense? I don't. No Mike Williams, of course. Let's keep it close. Raiders plus the points, assuming Jimmy G starts. If not, then the bet is off.
That makes a lot of sense to me. And it does feel like the perfect time where people are going to, they'll think it's safe to go out and Charger again after last week. And that's always when it comes back to bite you in the rear end. I mean, that defense has been terrible. And Staley basically handed the Vikings that game too. And the Vikings just could not. I mean, the Vikings are their own worst enemies so far in the first 3 weeks of the season. It's so hard to watch them sometimes. Thank God I'm not a Vikings fan. I'm sorry. I should actually send Thor something. Our friend Thor Nystrom here on the college football show at BettingPros. He has had a rough September. So I'm going to have to text him and do a wellness check on Thor, see how he's doing after this Vikings up. But you make great points out there at the Chargers there. Love that one. All right, Erickson, let's go back to you for another week 4 bet. Line it up. Let's go.
The game of the week, at least in my opinion, I'm going to go with the Dolphins coming away, +3 against the Buffalo Bills, heading up north. Look, are we going to forget that the Dolphins almost won outright against Buffalo when they were 13.5-point dogs in the playoffs last year with a 3rd-string quarterback? The Dolphins were that close to beating this Bills team without Tua, without a bunch of their weapons, and now it's +3? Like, come on. Who's going to stop this Dolphins offense? Like, I'm not convinced that the Bills are that team that's going to be able to stop Miami's offense. They put up 70 points last week without Jalen Waddle, who's going to play in this game. So it's not even like, oh, let's look at the tape and figure out how we can stop this team. It's like, they haven't even reached their final form. Waddle didn't even play in that game. So for me, again, it should be a shootout, should be a fun game to watch, but I just think that the Bills are getting they're playing at home. Is that it? Like, if this was on a neutral field, would it be pick 'em? It's like, for me, the home field advantage for Buffalo, it's September. This isn't December football we're talking about here.
That was the point that I made. I made the same point in the video this week, which was, hey, guys, look, I know it's Buffalo and all this stuff. It's September. This is not January or December here.
75 degrees.
Oh, the team from Miami can't go out. Oh, no, it's going to be 70 degrees in Buffalo, for God's sakes, or something close to it. I mean, I made the same argument. I took it a step further in my video this week in my top 10 bets. I just took them on the money line. Like, let's go. Yeah. +130 is the best number you can get on them. I think I got it at +125 at the time on FanDuel. But I just don't get this one. Like, to me, I think the more time that everybody has been involved and ingrained into this offense, Erickson, it just seems like we're starting to see all of the fruits of that labor. And yes, the 70-point thing was fun, and we're not going to chase that last week. But Erickson, it just feels like even with Jalen Waddle confirmed now coming back this week too, That's a lot of things to try to stop in this Miami offense, Erickson.
Yeah, and I think, too, you look at Teron Armstead. That was his first game back last week. With him and Tua both healthy, they're 7-3 straight up over the past 2 seasons. Like, he matters a lot as an offensive tackle. And I think that we're reading too much or maybe the market's reading too much into what the Bills did to the Commanders last week. 4 interceptions, 9 sacks of Sam Howell. Yeah, because Sam Howell holds onto the ball forever. That's not Tua's game whatsoever. Tua gets the ball out in like nanoseconds. Yeah. It's like by the time that the pass rush starts to get there, he's already thrown the ball. Sam Howell is like getting his haircut back there. He's trying to order dinner.
And he made some bad
everything
decisions,
to just get absolutely balls too,
sacked. Or if you're going to sit back there that long, you might as well just eat the football and take the sack, because he was trying to do too much sometimes too. And that always gets you in a bad way. Josh Allen knows too. And if he tries to do too much of this game, that could set you back as well. So Erickson likes them with the points. I like the Dolphins on the money line. I'm just going right for the jugular. Let's go. Let's go. I also bet the Dolphins to win that division. And not because of the 70-point game. It's because I just think right now, offense kills. And this is the universe we live in the NFL. And I don't know if anybody can keep pace with them from an offensive standpoint. All right, before we get to the final big bets of the week for the boys, I just want to remind everybody out there too, make sure you join our NFL contest if you haven't already. Go to bettingpros.com/NFL contest. Or if you've already downloaded the app, like I told you to all these weeks, just go to the community tab, click on that, go to NFL contest, join, make 5 picks a week, 100 during the NFL season, or just the 5 picks a week. If you're just joining now, that's cool too. And the grand prize winner is going to get a signed Jackson Smith and Jigba jersey. We're also giving away weekly prizes. So don't say, hey, I missed out, I can't win anything. Of course you can. Weekly prizes, monthly prizes. We're giving away Fantasy Pros and Betting Pros premium upgrades. We're giving away swag to our shops at Betting Pros. Fantasy Pros, you can win a cool hoodie like I'm wearing right here. Look at the BP hoodie. So go check out the NFL contest again on the community tab on the app, or bettingpros.com/NFL contest. Again, we just want to give you free things. Wouldn't it be nice just to get some free stuff? Mike Randle, let's give some people some free money. What do you have here, last but not least, for week 4?
I'd like to thank you guys for the perfect segue into this pick. Philly -8 against Washington. Sam Howell has turned into a stunt double for Terry Tate, office linebacker, with the amount of sacks and hits he's taking back there. The biggest discrepancy in this game is the Washington offensive line and the Philadelphia offensive line. Remember, Philly really impressive last week. They were dealing with the flu going around, and you talked about it with the offense. I don't think they can stop it. You have to get pressure, and they're not going to be able to do that. Washington is allowing 6.5 sacks per game. You want to expand that out, guys. That's 108 sacks this year. The record is 76 back with the expansion Texans here. Washington didn't win at Philly. They ended their perfect season. Philly remembers that. They're going to be ready to go. And in that game, they had 3 lost fumbles. So barring any turnover regression, I'm going with Philly. By the way, this is also a 10.8% edge at FTN. Our 10% or higher edges, 13-2 this year on totals and sides. So everything lines up. If you're nervous about the 8, because I know it's a crazy number, you can tease it down to 2. I think that's fine also. Philly's going to get the win here, and I'm going to lay the 8, even though it's a weird number. I just think, how is Washington going to protect Sam Howell after what we saw last week? And now they're going on the road.
It's a weird number. I bet it on Monday afternoon. And then I did a video about it on Tuesday afternoon. I'm with you 100%. Everything, all Eagles, all the time in this one, too. I think there's going to be, when Jalen Carter's chasing after you right up that middle, we already talked about holding on the ball too long, and he's just not going to be able to do that. Just not going to be able to hold on to the ball too long. It's going to be a long day at the office, I think, for the Washington Commanders. So, yes, weird number. I agree. But again, it's on that list of top 10 bets for me. So I'm glad that Mike Randle's in on it, too. Now it makes me feel warm and fuzzy. Erickson, one more. Let's lock it up. What do you got?
Basically the opposite of the game of the week, going with the Denver Broncos and Chicago Bears matchup. 2 teams that, I mean, you think one of these teams has to win. It's the Caleb Williams Bowl is the way that I'm looking at it. Maybe the semifinals, because we got all the 0-3 and teams are playing each other this week. So we got 4 0-3 teams going at it to win the right to draft Caleb Williams in 2024. So looking forward to that. But looking at this particular game, we know that both defenses suck. Both offenses are pretty bad, except maybe the Broncos offense isn't that bad. Like, that's the only unit I actually have any confidence backing in any sort of capacity. Russell Wilson has played okay this year. The Broncos offense has been about average, but where they've been their best is actually in the first half. 16 points per game in the first half this year. That ranks 7th best. So I'm just going to take them with the spread, the first half spread, 1.5 points. They're going to be up. They're going to be beating the Bears in the first half. That's all I need to watch in this game, and then I can turn it off and watch something else because that's what I want to do. Because the Bears rank second to last in first half points. They probably rank second to last in second half points too, but for this bet, that doesn't matter. Have the Broncos get the lead in the first half, turn off your TV, move on, cash out your bet.
I love it. That's the perfect way to watch this football game, or not watch it, I guess, depending on your perspective. There's a morbid curiosity, though, for me in this game. I just want to see how the Broncos respond, because that was an all-time butt whooping that they got last week. And the wacky, flailing, arm inflatable tube secondary tackling that they tried to do, where the arms are just kind of wiggling like that. That's kind of what they look like out there. I mean, just arm tackling all the running backs. And I understand like around 30, they kind of quit. But kind of they quit, it felt like around 20 something too. Like they just kind of like started to throw in the towel, and then it just got really embarrassing. So yes, that's probably the best way to approach this game. Some really good stuff here from the boys. Just to recap, Erickson's on the Jags at -3, the Rams on the money line, the Saints at -3, the Dolphins at +3. I'm Dolphins money line. Let's go. Sorry, Bills Mafia. I know you're going to hate me, but I love you, and I love putting people through tables. It's one of my favorite pastime. But fins up in this game. Broncos first half, -1.5. Love that one too. Randle is on the Ravens +2.5. This is saucy. Add Cleveland with that defense. I can't wait to see if you're right. The Titans at +2.5 against the Bengals. They're in Cincinnati. The Rams Colts under 46.5. The Raiders +5.5 as the Chargers are going to charger. And then the Eagles at -8 against Washington. He is the CCO of FTN. That's a lot of letters, but make sure that you follow him on the Twitter machine or X or whatever the heck it is today at Randle Rant, and check out all his amazing work at FTN. He's one of the best in the business, one of my favorite people in the business. Mike Randle, thanks for joining us today on the show. Don't forget, everybody, comment below. Tell us what your favorite picks are right here on the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Click the bell till it goes ding, and you just might win a James Cook autographed jersey. That's right, from us. Download the BP app too if you haven't already. Sync your sports books and check out Premium for free for a few days on us. Again, we're the gift that keeps on giving. And join the NFL contest at bettingpros.com/NFL contest. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Andrew Erickson and Mike Randle, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.